guys. Hi, guys. Welcome to the Cosplay Stitch and Seam podcast. I'm Pannon.
And I'm V-Fire, messing everybody up as always.
And I'm David.
Wow.
That just really threw me for a loop, you guys.
I wasn't expecting 10 at the end of a 3, 2, 1, but
Yeah.
count us
3, 2,
in,
1,
Mercedes. You are not allowed to count us in.
3, my lord. Yes, 3.
You are not allowed to count the holy hand grenade either. No.
Okay.
Anyway, welcome.
Hello.
We love you guys. If you ever want to reach out to us, we love hearing from you. You can reach us on our email, which is cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com, or
you can go to the website, cosplaystitchandseam.com, and fill out the contact form there. I try to check it as much as I can, and you can send your cosplay horror stories or happy stories, or just say hello through there, and
you can also do the same thing on the Facebook page and group. You can message us there, tell us your stories, and while you're there, join the Facebook group and enjoy the Work in Progress Wednesdays, and we will even throw in topics of what we're going to be talking about next, and we want your opinion, we want your feedback, and we want your experience. And speaking of feedback, give us a review while you're already on the internet, if you can. And if you would be so kind as to go to Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or Podchaser or wherever and leave us a review that you feel is fair and tell us something nice. We'd love to hear from you guys, and we'll give you a shout out on the show.
hooray. And speaking of ways you can support us, we do have a Patreon now, which is patreon.com/cosplaystitch. We just finished recording our second episode of our Cosplay Chronicles D&D campaign. So if you want to, if you have listened to the first episode, the first episode came out in audio format recently, and I think was available on YouTube as well.
Yes,
Yep, I just got it uploaded.
Yes, you can watch the first episode and listen to it on YouTube and via podcast format if you would like. So, yeah.
Hooray.
First episode's a freebie. Woo!
Yeah. From there on. So yes, come join us, patreon.com/cosplaystitch. I think that's all our announcements. Yeah?
Yeah.
So our topic for today is recycling cosplay, upcycling cosplay, making things, basically, taking something and turning it into something else from whatever that might be. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Also including on my end, I'm going to throw out there, if there's pieces of a cosplay that you can't recycle, where to find places that you can recycle different materials and things like that. So I'm going to just throw that part out there because, recycling,
yes.
Woo!
Recycling is good. So the first one I wanted to talk about was upcycling, because I think a lot of us starting out, this is kind of how we learn, is by finding and altering things to fit different characters. Or at least that's kind of how it was for me, is I picked some things that I could find pretty easily the pieces for, like school uniforms or dress shirts and things like that, and then alter them with painting or a little bit of tailoring or, whatever it might need, and making it fit the character. It's something I still do to this day, depending on the costume, depending on whether I'm competing with something or not. Because it's a lot easier to just go find a dress shirt at a thrift store than it is to make one from scratch. Just saying, just throwing that out there. So yeah, I'm a fan of the find and alter, especially when you're starting out. It's really great because you get to see the construction of how garments are put together, and you can start to figure out how to work that into what you want it to do. And it kind of gets your brain started in that direction of going, oh, okay, it needs to be this shape and it started this shape and I need it to be this shape. And it gets you familiar with the pieces, which I think is really helpful. One of the other things I love that I can almost always find at thrift stores is bases for props and armor. I always go to like the sporting section and get like ankle braces and ankle pads and football gear and things like that. And you can build up foam armor or Warbler armor or whatever on top of those, and you have a sturdy structure and one that's meant to, flex in certain places already.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be a really great base so you're not building something from nothing.
I've often used golf clubs for swords.
Nice. Oh, yeah.
Core out the foam, and then that way it's a nice sturdy center. And I know that even if it does get hit pretty hard, if I had like a wooden dowel or even PVC, it won't break in somewhere in the middle that I can't have access to.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I did, when I did Inuyasha way back in the day, I did his giant, like, Tessaiga sword, and it has, like, a really specific, like, square-ish, rectangle-ish shaped hilt, and I actually got a hockey stick, and I just broke off the end of it, because I wanted it to be pretty sturdy, because it's a giant sword, and so it went inside of a foam core base, like, at least halfway through it, because it's a hockey stick, and then it had that nice square handle that I just figured out how to rewrap, and it worked great.
Awesome.
It was ridiculous. Good times. But I love that mindset of like, it gets you in that creative headspace where you are looking for things that can become other things and looking for ways to retool something into something else, which I don't know. I love to see that in cosplay. I love when someone comes up to me and is like, guess what this is made out of? And I never know. So it's always really fun to see how someone can look at something and decide to make it into something else entirely.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. I also like thrift stores because they have like bed sheets, which are giant, things of fabric that are
what?
I know. So if you do want to make something from scratch, they have large things of fabric that are pretty cheap, sometimes cheaper than going to a fabric store. And then also, because it's a thrift store, you're giving something else a second life, which is always, a little bit better for the environment, etc., etc. Yeah. I've had really good luck. I feel like I'm just giving a speech here about thrift stores and how good they are for cosplay. So chime in anytime, you guys.
I think anybody could go on forever about them. Like, they're amazing. That's where I get most of my belts and belt buckles.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. I am so there for that because one of the ones near me has belts for like $1 or $2. And that's cheaper than you can get a belt buckle at the store, like a new belt buckle. And sometimes you get like all these crazy fun extra designs and things you wouldn't be able to pick up at a craft store.
I've been thinking about doing the bedsheet thing for a cloak that I'm working on because I was like, it makes so much sense to buy a white bedsheet and then just practice a pattern until either I like it or I feel confident enough to actually go buy the material.
That's true. That's true. You can use it for practice and all the edges are already finished. So even if you're just gathering the top, it's got all the seams and hems already done. So that's really nice.
See, I hadn't even considered just gathering the top. I was like, no, you got to cut it. You got to sew it.
You could
making
just put,
my job easy.
Yeah, do like Thor and just have the pleats and stuff in his cloak.
So smart.
Learning new things every day.
Every day. I like that you mentioned belts because I was going to say accessories are something that are really great to get at thrift stores because I've had some where I just want, extra shinies or extra details. And I've been able to find like vintage jewelry or like just really crazy gaudy pieces that I wouldn't see in a regular store. And be able to add it as like a belt accent or as something on my hat or as, So yeah, it's super fun. I wrote down a list of, where did it go? So for me, I thought thrift stores are best for like street clothes and simple designs. I mean, you can always find crazy things in thrift stores as well. But if you're going there for like, just like basic shirts, basic pants that you need to alter. Like, why not give some clothing a second life and have fun with it? Yeah. And then it already looks a little bit lived in,
Yeah.
That's a closet cosplay, like
Yeah,
kind of mentality.
Yeah, one thing I like to do with them as well is like I really love looking at thrift stores for like if I'm just doing like a casual modern version of a character like Aloy or like I kind of did one of oh wow, my brain just broke. The main character from wow,
Link.
Yes, always Link. Yes. No. Demon Slayer.
Good guess.
Demon Slayer, dude. That kid.
Okay.
Why is my brain broken today? I don't know. But that kid. Gosh.
Tanjiro.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've had a long day. Okay, it's been a long
It just felt
week.
Appropriate to guess Link. I'm sorry.
I mean, it makes total sense. I am just such a nerd.
It does.
But yeah, it's a great way to like look for like a casual version of one of those characters. Just kind of like make an outfit that's kind of dedicated to them. So it's like, yeah, that whole low-key closet cosplay kind of thing where it's like, yeah, I'm dressed as this character, but I'm not, but I am.
Yeah, no, I totally dig that. I also really like it for cosplays from like live action things because, you know, it in a TV show or whatever, they're going to be wearing, you know, name brand clothing and regular clothing. So it's easy to find and alter things to look, you know, like they're already part of that universe, I guess.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to make it from scratch, because that can be a pain in the butt. Let's see. I went through like all the old cosplays I had done that like fell into that category. Like I thrifted Marceline from Adventure Time because she just wears like a black shirt and ripped jeans and like a red and black flannel button shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a thrift store staple. Like there were lots of different sizes and styles of the same thing. Like, it was easy to find. I did, let's see. Rose Tyler from Doctor Who was really easy because she wears a lot of modern casual clothing. It was just like, she wears this. Oh, I can just pick this off the shelf. It's nice. One thing I'll say, if you're looking for clothing for characters who wear like fancy dress shirts or like button-up shirts and the thrift store doesn't have what you want, or maybe they have what you want but it's not in great condition, you can go to like suit and tuxedo rental places, and a lot of times they'll have like their rental section and stuff that's like gently used that you can purchase at a discount.
I've never thought that. That's so cool.
Yeah, well, when I was doing Grell Sutcliffe from Black Butler, she has like a tuxedo shirt, and I could not for the life of me like find a tuxedo shirt in a thrift store. Mm-hmm. So I ended up going to a tuxedo store and being like, do you have a tuxedo shirt? And they're like, actually, we have some that you can buy that are new, or we have some that are used. And I was like, you do that? That's the thing? So yeah. And they also have like usually a wide variety of like colors and things if you need it in a specific color.
If you can, go after prom season.
Yeah, exactly. So I was very excited about that. And every time, way back in the day when I was a young little weeb, I cosplayed Trunks from Dragon Ball Z, and he has that like crop top jean jacket.
Yes.
Yeah. And now like every time I go to a thrift shop and I see a jean jacket and I'm just like, oh yeah, I can make Trunks. I can't not in my head like connect them. So
I think almost all of my cosplays that I have done, with the exception of Captain America, had thrift shop clothes. Like my barbarian character from D&D, I bought a skirt because I wasn't going to be able to learn how to pleat a skirt. Like, no. And I used that as a form to sew on fur on it so it looked, you know, more barbarian-esque. And I bought some military like tan shirts, and I used those as like, I want to cut these up, but how do I cut them up and make them look good and still maintain a shape? My Michael cosplay from the Dresden Files, which the latest book came out.
Did it come out?
Yeah, it came out last week. And I'm in the middle of skin game, so I am very, very close to the finish.
Oh no. Is the audiobook version out?
we can talk later.
Okay. I'm sorry.
You're good.
I'm so excited. I didn't know it was out.
I do not blame you. James Marsters continues to read, and he is fantastic.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I went and I got flannel, because there is never a shortage of flannel at your local thrift shop for some odd reason. It's
true, exactly.
So even if you wanted to do like a Sam and Dean cosplay, like you just walk in less than 5 minutes, you found your costume.
Yeah, I may have done that before. I had only seen a couple like seasons of Supernatural, and my friend's like, "We're doing a panel, and we need someone really tall to be Sam," and I was like, "Okay." So I just went down to the thrift store and I was like, okay, he's got this, and this, and I have an old brown wig and we're going to make this work. And then I had my 5-inch platforms on top of that. So I was very tall.
Oh my
gosh.
Yeah. I was like 6'5", I think.
Tall Pannon.
Yeah.
I mean, you're already tall.
Fun. I am pretty tall.
Yeah.
It's okay. Anything else on thrifting cosplays before we move on to other types of recycling and upcycling and whatnot?
Make sure you wash the stuff afterwards, because even though they wash them, they're still like people wear them to see like if they fit. So don't be like someone I know who didn't wash it and got kind of a weird skin irritation for whatever reason. Yeah, don't do that. That wasn't fun for that person. That has no connection to me.
No connection at all.
We don't know. No, just a friend.
Just some complete idiot.
Oh God. So the other thing we were going to cover is making stuff from your current stock of supplies that maybe you don't have a plan for, or maybe you did have a plan for and that plan fell through and you didn't end up making the costume, because who does that ever?
I don't know.
Or maybe you have a back stock because you just bought something because you thought it was really pretty and you're like, I'm going to put this in a costume someday.
Also, I don't know that at all.
I don't know anyone who does that ever.
So many pretty fabrics.
So I had some suggestions I kind of put together for what you can do with that. One of my favorite photographers, and I'm blanking on her photography name, but I know her name is Deegan. I can't think of her photography name. But she did like my Final Fantasy 15 photos and stuff, but she also cosplays. And she did this campaign to do cosplays from like without buying any new materials. And I was like, that sounds like a really cool idea. So
it's a fun challenge. It's a really fun challenge.
It is. So for that, I actually made you saw the not Food Wars, what's that, Food Fantasy.
Yes.
When I did my Food Fantasy costume, I did that all from stuff I already had in my closet and just like threw it together and add a costume. So like luckily most of it I had already, and I think the only, what did I end up buying for that? I think I bought like a little like hat pin just so I could pin it to my wig, but everything else was just stuff I had, which was really cool.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I was like, that's actually a really great idea, because like you can pull out like all these weird fabrics that you've collected over the years, materials, fabrics, whatever, lay them out and be like, so what can I make with this? And just see how much of it you can use in one costume. Like that makes it just like a fun challenge, and I love it.
That's actually like, so you know I love the Adventure Zone.
Oh yeah.
I love taco.
I was just about to be like, I bet this could be a taco thing.
No, like seriously, that's how I made most of his costumes, because I've done like 3 or 4 versions of his from different like story arcs. But I literally just like went through and went like, well, this one's really pretty and this is pretty. I'm just going to throw them together. And I've had this trim for like 6 years and not done anything with it. So I'm putting that on it. And I have all these tassels I thought I would put on the costume, and that's going on it. And so Taco, like every time I have cosplayed Taco, it's just been like stuff I threw together from my closet. Because like they don't have until recently he didn't have like a specific canon outfit, and even then the creators encourage you to like do your own designs and have fun with it. So I was like, I'm gonna do that.
And it feels very true to Taco as well, of like, it's gonna be a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's like cooking.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Bringing it full circle.
Full circle.
I love it.
But yeah, like I don't know. I end up collecting so many things because I'm like, I definitely wanted to use this for a project, and then I'm like, but what project am I ever going to use this for? Mm-hmm. Or I have big plans to do this costume, and then like maybe it was from a group and the group fell through, or maybe I just lost my motivation to finish that costume and it never got cut out or something.
Anytime I go to start a new project, I'll actually pull out all of my fabric and stuff and go through that first before I go and buy stuff, because that's kept from creating hordes of stuff where I'm like, I've bought this fabric to do, this costume, this version of Aloy that I eventually do want to do. But right now I really want to make this Link costume. It always comes back to Link.
See, it was a safe bet. I knew it.
Yeah. And so it's just like, I just come back to Link and I'm like, I can use it for this now and help save myself some money right now. And eventually when I do that other costume for Aloy, I can go buy more. Or maybe I will, by that time, have bought fabric for another costume and be like, no, it'll work for Aloy. So I don't like strictly leave it to one costume or another, except for one. But that's because I have no bloody idea what to do with the rest of this fabric right now. So I have a ton of gold and green fabric for Queen Augusta Vratica from Trinity Blood. Hopefully I make that someday, because I have a ton of that fabric.
I also have a Trinity Blood collection that has not become a costume yet, and it's just like a whole bunch of like crosses and gold jewelry and white fabric.
Oh no.
So you're saying we need a group cosplay?
I mean, I still have my Esther wig. I bought the wig back in the day, and I have patterns for most of it. I just never have like put it together.
I've got a wig for Augusta as well.
I'm now looking up pictures of Trinity Blood, and these people are all too pretty.
You'll
oh my gosh.
They say that making a Trinity Blood cosplay, it's never finished.
Yeah,
there's just keeps getting so much detail. I had to do,
and I'm going to close this tab.
I drew for Rena. Rena commissioned me to draw. I can't remember, Mary from Trinity Blood, to draw like her outfit and the different layers for it. And like I wasn't even making it. I was just drawing out the different layers and whatnot. And I was like, oh gosh, Trinity Blood, why? There's every reference image is not the same, and then you're sitting there and you're like, how do these connect? Where does this piece go? Is this a pocket or is it armor? I don't know.
Oh jeez. Also, I think a lot of my Trinity Blood is waiting on I do not have an embroidery machine, and there is so much embroidery on this costume.
Yeah.
And I am not doing it by hand.
Yeah.
So there's that. What my weakness is, if there is cheap white or black fabric that is pretty, I will just buy enormous amounts of it.
This is never going to be not something that you can use that for.
Yeah. It's just something I do.
Yeah.
So I have like a whole ton of like white shantung and white linen and white gabardine and then I have like black wool and black velvet and black twill and black. So
wow.
Yeah. So I have a problem, but then like I end up using it like.
I know who to go to now to be like, hey, I need some of this stuff here. And you'll be like, here you go.
I know my own like cosplay tastes, and it involves a lot of white ball gowns. So
it sure do.
So it helps. I have like Sailor Moon and Princess Euphemia and like all these very large white gowns. And and Madoka. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And I have this thing where I either cosplay like the cute, fluffy, like magical girl in a white something or other, or I want to cosplay like the spooky villain, scary thing in all black. So
there is
always the villain.
There is no in between.
Yeah. No, there's not. No. JoJo's are kind of in between.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're not in between. They're just everywhere.
They're like a Bob Ross painting color palette before he gets to the actual painting. I was talking about it with Kaylinthia this morning, actually. I was like, look at Giorno's costume. Like, this is crazy. And Z's reaction was, that's it. That's your everyday wear from here on out. I don't care what else you're going to wear. That's it.
Yes, with the heart-shaped boob window.
Exactly.
Yes. So that's another thing. Like, JoJo's cosplays are great for leftover weird fabric that you don't like have something for. Like, I found this like hideous pink and blue tie-dyed fabric that's like this neon pink and blue spandex, and I actually made Giorno out of it because I was like, the anime wasn't out yet, and we didn't know if his was going to be the pink outfit or the blue version of his outfit, and they went with pink, and I was like, yes. But I was like, it's both. It's tie-dyed pink and blue and gold and neon green ladybugs. So, you never know what you're going to use stuff for. So yeah, raid your own closet every now and again and make something fun. Like, now is a great time to go see what you already got. I also put that they're great for fantasy characters, original designs, original characters, book or podcast where they don't have like an official version.
You can be creative with it, come up with your own design.
Yeah, exactly. You can have a lot of leeway in how it turns out because you could base it on what you have, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So let's say that you get to, you've got a bunch of cosplays and you don't wear half of them anymore. What do you do with them? Like,
well,
that sounds like you're trying to part with a child, Pam.
I know, right?
I don't know. Like, I'm so fickle with a lot of my cosplays. Like, I will wear it to a few conventions and then I'll just be like, I'll either not be totally satisfied with how it turned out, or it's difficult to wear for long stretches, or whatever, gosh. And then it just sits in my closet for a while.
My Zora armor.
My Prince Sidon.
I know. It's like, we look amazing in them, but like Zora armor is hard to sit in, let alone move around in, and like, Sidon is Sidon.
Sidon is a muscle suit with a sweat burrito wrapped around it.
We need to do photos, by the way, of our sweat burrito boys. So,
yeah. Sweat burrito boys.
Okay. Well, it's like a jumpsuit, but it's made out of like stretch pleather because it's shark skin.
Dude,
and it doesn't breathe.
No.
And I have like a muscle suit that's like foam stuck to my skin underneath it, and it's a lot.
That sounds so unpleasant.
It is unpleasant. Only for long stretches, like 8 to 10 hours at a time.
Naturally, yeah, how it goes.
Yeah. So anyway, when you get to the point where you're not going to wear your stuff anymore, let's talk about what you can do when you're done with a costume.
Yes.
For me,
okay, you go ahead. Go.
I was gonna say, for me, because I'm fickle about it, and unless I like love a costume, it doesn't necessarily stay for more than a couple of years. I will sell it. I didn't always, because I wasn't very confident in my work, but I feel a little bit better about it now. Only a little, because I still a little. So I will go on. There's a lot of great like marketplaces and groups on like different social media where they exist for people to trade and share and sell cosplay. I like to go to. There's one that's actually like specifically for plus size cosplay, and I love that one because not only can I look for cosplays that would fit me, but I can also like make sure it's going to someone who's going to fit it.
Yeah.
So it's great because I have like a good audience. But yeah, a ton of places exist that you can sell your old costumes and give them a new life. You can also just straight up donate or give them to a friend, or I don't know, take it to a thrift store, I guess. I don't know if it will go in anything but their Halloween section, but you can take it there.
I'm just now picturing that poor person who has to do the sorting of like and cleaning of it. You know, like how do I clean this headdress? I don't understand.
I'm not saying that I have dropped off like a bunch of old Final Fantasy costumes at the thrift store before, but I may have done that.
I found something like that at a thrift store. I'd be like, oh my gosh, look at this. Oh.
I love it. You can do that.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of like upcycling things. Oh, sorry.
I was going to talk a little bit about upcycling, actually.
Yeah, just do that.
Yeah, like one thing I recently did was that I finally was like, okay, if I'm ever going to wear Sergeant Calhoun again, it's not going to be this one. And so I cannibalized her. I went through and was like, I love these little trinkets and things. I love these zippers. I took all the snaps off of her, any magnets that were in there. I took those back. There were lots of really cool things on the armor that look like plugs and things like, sci-fi plugs and stuff that you see on, sci-fi stuff.
Yeah.
Anything that looked super sci-fi-y, I took it off of the thing and I just put it all in. I have a box that's just called miscellaneous. And then I have another box that's all electronic stuff. It doesn't actually say stuff, but and I pulled out all the electronics and put it into that box. And so like later on, if I'm like, oh, hey, I want to try and use red LEDs for something, I can go through and I can dig through those, or I can use it again for if I ever remake Sergeant Calhoun the way that I would really like to wear her and be comfortable and not die in. Gosh, that costume tried to murder me. But
man, that actually reminds me, because I have like a buckle bin where I just like keep buckles, whether I salvage them from old costumes or like I will go to a thrift store and buy like a cheap like purse and just salvage the buckles off of it if I need smaller ones. And I found a Gucci bag there that was like, it was not in good shape, but I like took all of the little metal pieces and buckles and they all say like Gucci.
That's perfect for JoJo's.
Well, yes. I ended up putting a bunch of them on like my Attack on Titan gear because they have buckles everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, I'm going to be the Gucciest Attack on Titan cosplay.
That is amazing. I love that.
And yeah, so I still saved a bunch of them because I was like, I need this but JoJo's is a great idea. I'm totally going to do that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like I just took all the things that I wanted off of her, and then the rest, it just made it a lot easier to be like, all right, and the rest of this I don't need anymore. And I still kept her bodysuit, so I've got like a cool looking bodysuit and whatnot. And Lexus actually came over one day. She goes, Mercedes, I need your help. And I'm like, oh, what do you need my help with? And she's like, I need something that looks cyberpunk because I'm going to go do photos out on the salt flats. And I was like, cyberpunk. All right, here's Calhoun's suit. And so she wore her bodysuit out on the salt flats. The pants didn't quite fit her, but the top, like Calhoun's shirt, and then like the little jacket thing, like the half jack shrug, that's what I'm looking for, her like vest shrug thing. She wore that together. And then just like added a couple of really cool things, was able to throw together this really cool kind of cyberpunk looking outfit and got some amazing photos. I'd give a shout out to the photographer, but I can't remember her name off the top of my head. But like it was super cool. So yeah.
Nice. I have done a bunch of projects where I will upcycle, not necessarily into a cosplay, but I'll upcycle it into other things. One of my friends out in Denver was, she was moving away and her friends wanted to do something fun for her to take with her to remind her of like all the good times at conventions they had.
Aww.
And so they made a quilt and they took like remnants from like all their old cosplays together, and so they made like different like cosplays into different quilt squares.
My
where it
heart,
looked like
that's precious.
yeah. So I got to help with that one because I made like Axel, and it like I made it so it like zips up, and when you unzip it, it had like flame pattern and
oh, that's
from
cool.
Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, and just like cute stuff like that, and they put it together into a quilt to remind them of all the cosplays they'd done together. Like, that's such a fun idea.
Aww.
That's super cute.
I've done it with because I make bags and whatnot. I've done it with old costumes, is like upcycle them into a purse that resembles the character instead of wearing the costume, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So making it into something else that you're going to use is really good. For me, I also do like a lot of ball gowns and big dresses, and those are basically like a fabric black hole.
Oh, yeah.
So if you decide like you want to make something out of it later, you can take a skirt and make 3 other costumes out of it. So you don't have to like get rid of something. It's good fabric. It still works.
Yeah. We'll see. We covered upcycling, using it to make other things.
Yeah. So what about like where to recycle different pieces of these?
So you definitely want to look up like what kind of materials each thing is. And there's actually a website called Green Max. So like green as in the color green and max as in like maximum power. Green Max, actually it has like a whole page that's dedicated to can EVA foam be recycled?
Oh.
And it can. As to where to take it, I'm still trying to figure that one out, actually, because that one, like, EVA foam is such a thing. But it looks like it can be recycled to be turned into, where is it? Scrap generated, can be recycled and processed as renewable EVA foam. Apparently that's a thing.
Nice.
But yeah, as to where, I haven't quite figured that one out just yet. But if I do find something, I'll link it on the blog.
Yay. No, I like that so much of that is just like a Google search away. Like, can I recycle this part of my costume?
Yeah.
Can I, like, as long as you know what materials you use to make it, you can find out if it's recyclable.
It's like you can probably look it up.
There is you'll probably have to do some digging, but if there is a 3D print farm, and that is one of the technical terms for them, they might have a bad plastic recycling where they can actually take like your supports, or maybe it didn't seal right when it was printing and the ABS cracked, so it's all useless.
Oh.
They actually can break it down, melt it, and return it back to filament. So
I love that.
Look for a local 3D printing farm or somebody who does that. They probably have that machine. It's just as much as a regular 3D printer, but it allows you to recycle the plastic.
I love that. I did not know that existed.
I absolutely love that. One thing that I'll do with like any plastic bags or things like from shopping, and you get all those fabric and all that stuff, and then suddenly you have a ton of plastic bags. Other than using some of them as garbage bags in my house, you can actually take a lot of plastic bags back to like Home Depot. They take their plastic bags back. Yeah, so you can recycle it by just taking them to them, and they'll usually have like a recycling thing. And it doesn't even have to be like just their plastic bags. You can like look up different things, but just again, it's a Google search away. Salt Lake City has Rocky Mountain Recycling. They have a specific plastics plant, and then they just have general recycling as well. You can always look at what your like local recycling place is. Just kind of look them up, see what they take, and then you can go and drop stuff off there. I've found, even though my neighborhood doesn't pick up glass recycling, there is just a couple blocks away a place to drop off glass. And so I'll just go and throw all that over there on like one of my trips out somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
Usually on my way to work or something, I'll just kind of drop off a couple of bottles and voila. I don't know, recycling, some people is like, oh, but it's so hard. There's so many, different things. I might not be able to find a way for it. It's actually a lot easier to find solutions than, if you just weren't to do anything about it. And it does, the more of us that do it, it helps the environment in a bigger way. So yeah, I like recycling stuff.
Good.
Yeah.
I like now I want to do another project with just stuff from my closet. I have not reviewed it in a little while.
I'm going to be sort of trying something like that. Sort of.
Ooh.
I mean, I was trying with that with the quarantine cosplay stuff.
Right. Yeah.
But then I got super sidetracked.
That's a whole mood.
Yup.
Yup.
I bought these masks from Redbubble. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the quality was like it was fine quality, but they weren't approved masks. They didn't pass the candle test. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I have planned for one of my weekends whenever have some free time is to sew on some spare material, because I still have like a bunch of flannel that I could do a couple layers, maybe pleat something, and then still be able to maintain like the cool design that I have on it, which is awesome, and that's why I bought it, and then still increase the security of it, the safety. I don't know what the proper term would be.
Nice.
I dig it.
Well, we've got 3 comments from the Facebook group that we can add on here on thoughts on recycling and reusing fabric and things like stuff like that.
Let's check it out.
Yeah. So Shaq says, I've rebuilt 2 costumes with mostly reused materials, and it allowed me to save money when my income was more limited. I was able to get a small amount of fabric that would have otherwise been out of my budget and use it as a nice accent. That actually makes a lot of sense. Like, I was going to say just a couple years back, but it was a lot of years back. My grandmother actually gave me a bunch of fabric that was leftovers from a furniture company. There we go. It was a furniture company. And one of them was like this really pretty, like white fabric with this really cool design in it. And there was just enough of it that I could use it for Ordon Link's tunic. And yep. So that's what I used for his tunic. And it just made this really gorgeous, like, just added so much depth to it. Even though, like, it's technically a plain tunic with just a little bit of embroidery on it, it added a little bit of character to it that I really liked. A lot of those scrap fabrics that she gave me from that furniture store, I don't know which one it was, she had a ton of it. It helped bring down the cost of how much that costume cost me in the long run. And I think I ended up spending less than $50 on Ordon Link.
Hey, nice.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it was super awesome. I loved it.
Next we have BT Riant?
B-Tyrant.
B-Tyrant.
B-Tryant, I guess, but...
B-Tryant. I was about to say, but there's an R in there.
No, I think it's B-Tyrant. Hang on. Let me look up her I know it. This is one of my cosplay partners. I should know this.
I follow
sorry,
her.
David.
I've doomed myself.
Apologize to yourself, David.
I'm so sorry, David. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry, David.
Yes, it is B-Tyrant cosplay.
Yes, it is B-Tyrant. I'm going to tease her that she spelt it wrong. She's now B-Tryant. B-Tryant.
Yes, B-Tryant. Or B-Tyrant cosplay writes, I have recycled a few costumes. One of these costumes was completed. The other one was in progress. The one that's in progress I keep around to use for mock-ups because it is made out of the synthetic material. And the other one was made out of muslin, so I could actually use it to drape. I had large panels of fabric, so I was able to pick the seams and use them. I also recently grabbed the last few pieces of the project and dyed them and sewed them into a shirt for a quarantine cosplay, so that I've also done that. I have gotten into the habit of keeping the cabbage from my projects, so
The cabbage?
Did I read that right? Cabbage? I have gotten into the habit of keeping the cabbage from my projects, so I have lots of little pieces. I wonder if
it's like a typo for scraps.
Wow, that is a leap for
I don't know. I like the idea of calling the scraps cabbage though, because you just like put them all together in like make it shaped like a fabric cabbage.
A cabbage patch.
Yeah, my cabbage is.
Sorry, continue.
I have lots of little pieces that I can only use on other items. For example, when I made my Team Rocket shirt for fun, I had micro suede from a different project that used for the R.
Ooh.
So I would actually recommend that you save the large pieces from your fabric and put it away if you have the space, because you never know when you might need it. I also like to upcycle stuff, like if I can. So if I buy an item and I modify, I will keep the buttons and they go into a button box for use at a later date and stuff like that. My main advice, if you're going to be using fabric from a previous project on a new project, is to clean it and pick the seams.
Yes.
I would pick the seams rather than just cut them, because you can maximize the amount of fabric you can get from the project, even though it's a pain in the neck. And washing, because when was the last time you washed that cosplay? Some of my cosplays cannot be washed, so it's very important to me to wash the fabric before I use it again.
Awesome.
Yay.
Yeah, I really like the washing of the fabric. Like, that makes a ton of sense, because it's like, yeah, when was the last time that you washed that?
Yeah.
I mean, I try to make all my costumes as washable as I can, so, but...
Or at least the part that's against my skin washable.
Yeah, and then, like, sometimes I'll, like, pull one out and I'll be like, oh, yeah, I didn't wash this after that convention.
Oh my gosh, I remember, like, I was ironing something for a friend at a convention and they hadn't, like, washed it in between.
Oh no!
And so I went to iron it and this, like, boof of, like, confunk just came at me with the steam of the iron, and I was like, please!
Help me!
Wash your costume!
Oh gosh. I know that smell.
And just with the steam of the iron, it was just.
I've done that before, where I'm like, okay, this pile of laundry. Oh shoot, I
need the
I left it
Febreze.
out. So you start ironing it, and then you're like, oh, that wasn't a pile of clean laundry.
Nope. Let's see. We've got Miranda Kingsford on the Facebook group that says, I am recycling other parts of my older one to make up for an item with the current build. Generally go through a list of questions to determine if it can be reworked, salvaged, or gotten rid of, donated. Is the fabric still good? Were there any stains? Can it still fit or perform the need? And so on. A lot of times I can just resew and redo it all together with having a better fit and look.
Very nice.
Like that.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you just kind of take it apart a little bit and put it back together so it fits you better. Like, because I mean, we are always improving on our costumes. So yeah, I like that.
Yes.
Very, very good.
I've remade, I think, you may know I love Prompto from Final Fantasy 15 because I say that a lot. But I've remade his pants like 3 times, and every time I have to like salvage the patches because they're like custom ordered patches, and then I have to like go back to my original pattern and adjust it and cut pieces off of it, and it's nice to have that around.
Yeah.
And just be able to update certain aspects of it.
Ooh. Fancy.
Yeah. But fancy. That's me, so fancy. All the time.
You're so fancy.
Oh, I know, I'm so fancy. So, do we have any horror stories besides the one with the iron I just shared?
Yes, actually.
And the person whose costume that was should be very glad I didn't mention their name.
Was it me? I'm just kidding.
No. No.
I mean,
wow.
I'll own it. Okay, focusing. Got this. Cosplay horror story. This one comes from Costume Countess, or Cassie. Back in 2013 or 2014, I was cosplaying as Genderbent Apocalypse from X-Men.
Okay.
Not that it matters, but I was wearing a blue one-piece swimsuit, a ton of armor pieces, and I was covered in gray body paint. I used Snazaroo body paint, and it was a disaster. A woman approached me and asked to take my picture, and I happily struck a pose. Then she said, actually, could you turn around? I want a picture of that cute butt.
Oh, no!
I was so shocked, but I did turn around and made a silly face for her picture. This was before the big cosplay is not consent movement, so I hope you read this as funny because it didn't traumatize me. It was just very funny. How would you have reacted? I'd love to hear that. And any more silly cosplay stories in general. Keep up the great work, Costume Countess.
Wow. Thank you, Costume Countess. I had this experience with a costume I did from Sword Art Online. I did Shinon, and she is like a sniper character. So I had like this big old rifle.
She's super cute.
And she is so cute. I love her. But she has like these little booty shorts, and all of the art for her is a lot of butt shots.
Oh, yeah.
Because it just that's
Sword Art.
The style, because it's Sword Art Online. So like I had someone ask for a picture, and so I was posing with the rifle and all excited, and then they were like, I need to get like a booty shot because that's her thing, and I was like, I'm uncomfortable. Like I literally was like, I'm not gonna do that. Bye. So it's okay to say that.
Yes. Yeah, it's okay to say no. For me, like, it depends on the costume and how comfortable I am doing something like that.
Like, if I was doing that for a friend, like,
yeah,
and we were joking around, that would be one thing. But if it's somebody, like, that is asking out of the blue, no.
Yeah. And that's totally up to, like, the person and whatnot. Me and, like, my chic cosplay, I'd turn and do the booty shot. I'd be like, yes, you may take a picture of my booty in this. And it also depends on like how creepily you ask too. Like,
yeah, I think that's a big aspect of it too. Or like, even if someone just said something like, "Oh, can I get a shot of the backside of the costume? It looks like you did a great job on it." That's a lot less creepy than "I want to take a picture of your butt."
Yeah. You can be discreet about it if you want to take a picture of someone's butt, I guess.
You can just say, "Can I get a picture of the back of the costume?" Like, if someone asked me for a picture of the back of my costume, I would actually be kind of excited because I always put ridiculous, stupid details on the back of my jackets and shirts and like dresses that nobody sees. So
Yup. And it's not like, especially if like they ask for like a picture of the back of the costume, it's like it's a different kind of pose than, taking a picture of someone's butt. So
yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely been a couple costumes where I'm like, no, I don't want that.
So it's definitely a consent issue, and whether or not you're comfortable with being like with having your picture taken that way.
Yeah.
So if you have a story you'd like to share with us, whether it's a horror story or a fun story or just how you're doing right now, you can send us an email at cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com or
you can go to the website, cosplaystitchandseam.com, and fill out the contact form. You can also comment on any of our blog posts, so on and so forth. There's a lot of stuff.
Or you can go to our Facebook page and join our group and our page. Let us know your stories there. You can message us and join our Work in Progress Wednesdays. And while you're on the internet, leave us a review. Tell us what you're thinking. Just like Laura Klegstad did on Facebook, 10 out of 10, the humans on this podcast are delightful and talented.
Alara, you are also delightful and talented.
Yay, thanks, Laura.
That was a wonderful thing to read first thing in this morning, was like, aw, they think I'm human.
Also, if you'd like to support us and our ridiculous Cosplay Chronicles campaign, you can do so at patreon.com/cosplaystitch. Even if you are...
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Silver Deeds, who is part of our $5 tier. They're able to watch our D&D stream live, and part of it is they get a shout out on the show. So thank you so much, Silver Deeds. If you have also donated, we'll be giving you a shout out on the next episode.
Awesome! Hooray! Thank you, Silver Deeds.
Thank you.
Love you.
You're awesome.
Yeah, and thank you to Macy Roberts for use of her theme song in our show. And also, as always, thank you to David.
Yeah, David.
What's going on in your podcast, David?
Dungeons and Chill, we just recorded a couple hours of our Curse of Strahd game. It is so different from what we normally do, but at the same time, like, it's very much in the same vein of just like wow, this is really out there and kind of dark. So if you enjoy that vampire Castlevania kind of stuff, this is definitely the game for you. I'll be editing that soon.
Nice.
Comic Trades Monthly, we are reading Chew by Robert Lehman, and I love this concept. This guy works for the FDA, and he has a superpower that if he bites into something and eats it, he knows its full history. So how does he use that to solve crimes, you might ask?
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, David. We're going to have to up our rating for cannibalism here.
No, I didn't say any bad words.
Oh no.
So go check out my shows.
I was like, where's this going? Chew. Ah, that's where it's going. Okay.
His last name is Chew. Come on.
Oh.
Come on.
Oh, I don't know.
It is.
This is an audio format. It could have been CHU or CHEW.
You're absolutely right. It is written as a comedy, so I will let everyone assuage their fears that way. It is a comedy, and it is quite entertaining.
It sounds
Oh, good.
great.
Oh, good.
I love it.
Well, as always, thank you guys for listening. We love you guys. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your thoughtful reviews. Thank you for following.
Thanks for being a part of our awesome group. Like, you guys are all the best.
Yeah. Remember to be that positive change you want to see in your community. We need you now more than ever. Your creativity, your positivity. We love you.
Let me know if I need to be anybody being mean. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.